Warning, this video contains mature themes, disturbing content, and references to unexplained events. Viewer discretion is advised. Yellowstone's Inferno, Tales from the Smoking Abyss. Welcome to Storyteller Pro, where tales of mystery, history, and human resilience come to life. Tune in to our podcast for immersive narratives that spark your imagination. Today, we journey back in time to uncover the enigmatic beginnings of Yellowstone National Park and the perilous experiences of those who dared to venture into its uncharted wilderness. It's a peculiar world where smoke rises incessantly from the earth for 24 hours. Picture an otherworldly terrain where lakes boil with ferocious heat and rocks burst forth with thermal springs. It sounds like a scene from a distant planet, yet this place exists right here on Earth. When John Colter claimed to have witnessed such marvels in 1807, his contemporaries dismissed his accounts as the ramblings of a dreamer or liar. In 1803, the US government acquired vast territories from the French in what became known as the Louisiana Purchases. For $15 million, America gained control over lands that would later form much of the central United States. Yet, the French had only tenuous authority over these areas, as they were largely inhabited and governed by Native American tribes. To understand these new lands, the government commissioned the Lewis and Clark Expedition to survey and map the western regions of the Mississippi River. Among the explorers was John Colter, who would later gain fame as a mountain man. Colter's journey took a remarkable turn when he parted ways with the expedition and ventured off into uncharted wilderness. In 1807, he stumbled upon an extraordinary landscape where steam continuously rose from the ground, hot springs bubbled, and geysers erupted with startling force. Despite his vivid descriptions, the world was skeptical. His reports were mocked as Colter's hell. Years later, in the 1830s, hunters and fur traders began exploring the area Colter had described. Among them was Jim Bridger, who shared equally astounding tales of the region. Despite these corroborations, skepticism persisted. French fur traders, who also ventured into these lands, documented interactions with Native Americans. Through their exchanges, the name of a local river emerged. When translated by English-speaking explorers, it became synonymous with the mystical land, Yellowstone. Stay tuned as we delve deeper into the tales of Yellowstone, its perils, its discoveries, and the indomitable spirit of the explorers who brought its wonders to light. Don't forget to subscribe to Storyteller Pro for more historical narratives that intrigue and inspire. Experience the story behind the story with our podcast features, tailored to captivate your imagination. The mysteries of Yellowstone's fiery past. The name Yellowstone originates from the striking yellow-hued rocks lining the banks of the Yellowstone River. However, beneath this picturesque facade lies a history forged in fire. Yellowstone is the scarred remnant of a supervolcano that erupted over 631,000 years ago, leaving behind a haunting legacy. The volcanic cataclysm obliterated its surroundings, scattering charred wood fragments, scorched rocks, and ash. This geological evidence, visible even today, whispers of an earth-shattering event. Though the supervolcano now lies dormant, its heart still beats with geothermal energy. Geysers erupt with violent splendor, fumaroles hiss with volcanic exhalations, and steaming hot springs bubble ceaselessly as if the Earth's veins run molten. Yellowstone is a land of contrasts. Its volatile geothermal activity coexists with a thriving ecosystem, over 180. Long before European explorers marveled at Yellowstone's splendor, Native American tribes had called it home for over 1,000 years. They hunted its abundant wildlife and revered its unique landscapes. By the 1800s, stories of Colter's hell began to captivate American imagination. Among these tales was the legend of hidden gold deposits buried deep within Yellowstone's rugged wilderness. In the 1850s, a group of settlers reportedly struck gold in Yellowstone. However, their triumph was short-lived. Attacked by Native Americans, only one member of the group survived, escaping with his life, but not the treasure. When he returned to retrieve it, the harsh and unpredictable terrain claimed him as well. This tragic tale only deepened the region's allure, luring adventurers into its treacherous grip. Many disappeared, swallowed by the volatile landscape, adding to Yellowstone's ominous mystique. Legends of Yellowstone grew darker with time. Early visitors whispered fears of another volcanic eruption, while eerie tales emerged to explain the park's haunting beauty. One story recounts a married couple's tragic journey through the region. After a bitter argument, the husband murdered his wife. Locals claim her headless ghost roams the banks of the Yellowstone River, her spectral presence terrifying travelers. Another chilling legend tells of a phantom geyser, a rogue fountain of scalding water said to erupt unpredictably, scarring anyone who strayed too close. Though no evidence of its existence remains, the tale persists, a stark reminder of Yellowstone's deadly unpredictability. These haunting tales and geological wonders make Yellowstone a land like no other, a place where nature's fury and beauty collide in a delicate, dangerous dance. As the mysteries of Yellowstone continue to unfold, its past and legends remain etched into the fabric of its breathtaking landscape. The perilous tale of Truman Everts in Yellowstone. Yellowstone's geothermal activity is as unpredictable as its breathtaking beauty. Boiling water streams can erupt from the ground without warning, making the land a treacherous maze. This unpredictability, coupled with the presence of Native American tribes in the region, deterred many from venturing into its depths for years. In 1860, an exploratory team made an attempt to unveil Yellowstone's secrets. Guided by the legendary mountain man Jim Bridger, the expedition was thwarted by unforgiving weather, forcing a retreat. It wasn't until the Washburn Expedition of 1870 that a determined group of 19 men succeeded in their mission to explore Yellowstone's marvels. The Washburn Expedition included adventurers, soldiers, and even 2 African-American cooks. Equipped with food, tools, and tents carried by 40 pack horses, the team departed from Helena, Montana on August 16, 1870. After days of arduous travel, they reached Yellowstone and began uncovering its wonders. Among the group was Truman Everts, a 54-year-old government official with no prior experience in exploration. Inspired by tales of Yellowstone's magnificence, Everts joined the team to witness its marvels firsthand. However, his inexperience often left him trailing behind the others, a detail that would soon prove catastrophic. On September 9, 1870, while navigating through a dense pine forest, Everts made a fateful decision. Encountering a fallen tree blocking the trail, he chose to take an alternate route. Unbeknownst to him, this small detour would lead to a harrowing ordeal. Straying too far from his companions, Everts soon realized he was hopelessly lost. By evening, the expedition team noticed Everts' absence and began searching for him. They fired gunshots into the air, hoping the noise would guide him back, but the vast wilderness swallowed their signals. Meanwhile, Everts faced a chilling reality. He was entirely alone in Yellowstone's unforgiving terrain. As the days passed, Everts' situation worsened. His horse, startled by the unfamiliar wilderness, bolted and disappeared. Along with the animal went Everts' coat, food, map, compass, and matches, everything essential for survival. Left with only the clothes on his back and a small opera glass, he began a desperate struggle against the odds. Despite his dire circumstances, Everts clung to hope. Using scraps of paper from his notebook, he scribbled notes about his location and attached them to trees. He believed his companions would eventually find them and rescue him. However, Yellowstone's vast and unpredictable wilderness rendered his efforts futile. Alone and vulnerable, Everts began his relentless battle to survive. The harrowing survival of Truman Everts. With no supplies and growing despair, Truman Everts faced an unrelenting wilderness. Dense pine forests and fallen leaves obscured trails, making it nearly impossible to locate his companions. Matters worsened when Everts, distracted and overwhelmed, left his horse untied, allowing it to vanish deeper into the forest. With the horse went all his essential supplies, leaving him with only the clothes on his back, a pair of glasses, and a few scraps of paper. Determined to survive, Everts turned to nature. He discovered thistle roots, a plant with edible tubers that elk and bears commonly consumed. These roots became his lifeline, their meager sustenance barely enough to stave off starvation. One night, a guttural growl shattered the silence. A mountain lion emerged from the shadows, its eyes glinting with predatory intent. Terrified, Everts scrambled up a tree, clutching the branches as the beast prowled below. For hours, he clung to the tree, his heart racing, until the lion finally disappeared into the darkness. Days turned into nights, and the weather worsened. Heavy rain, snow, and biting cold assaulted him relentlessly. Without fire or proper shelter, Everts' situation grew more dire. In a moment of ingenuity, he used his opera glass to focus sunlight onto dry wood, igniting a small flame. This triumph allowed him to warm himself and cook the thistle roots he had collected, a fleeting comfort in his grueling ordeal. As the weeks dragged on, Everts' body began to fail. Frostbite gnawed at his extremities, burns from boiling geysers scarred his skin, and countless injuries from falls left him battered. Yet, his will to survive propelled him forward, step by agonizing step. Unbeknownst to Everts, the Washburn Expedition had resumed their search. They left notes, food, and supplies in prominent locations, lit fires, and placed rations in trees, hoping he would stumble upon them. But Yellowstone's vast wilderness swallowed their efforts, leaving Everts alone in his desperate struggle. After wandering for over a month, Everts reached the shores of Yellowstone Lake. The warm steam from the nearby hot springs provided temporary relief, drying his soaked clothes and warming his aching body. Using fallen branches, he built a crude shelter and continued to forage for food, his determination to survive unwavering despite his frailty. One day, while resting by the lake, Everts' spirits soared at the sight of what he thought was a boat approaching. Waving frantically, he called out, only to realize it was a large pelican gliding across the water. The crushing disappointment nearly broke him, but thoughts of his daughter reignited his resolve. He pressed on, driven by the hope of reuniting with her. This captivating journey through the heart of Yellowstone is brought to you by Storyteller Pro, your gateway to the most gripping tales from history, mystery, and adventure. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast for immersive narratives that keep you on the edge of your seat. Whether you're exploring the wild frontier, unraveling ancient secrets, or delving into the extraordinary lives of historic figures, Storyteller Pro brings stories to life like never before. And now back to the tale of survival, mystery, and the unyielding spirit in Yellowstone, the final ordeal and rescue of Truman Everts. As the days dragged on, Everts' survival instincts sharpened. He began fashioning tools from whatever he could find. Using his belt buckle, he painstakingly sharpened it against rocks to create a crude knife. With scraps of cloth from his tattered clothing, he devised a rudimentary fishing line and hook. However, fishing in the icy waters of Yellowstone Lake proved far more challenging than he anticipated, leaving him with little to show for his efforts. Malnutrition and exposure had left Everts severely weakened. His body was riddled with burns, frostbite, and bruises from countless falls. Despite his condition, he refused to surrender. Using torn fabric, he crafted a small sack to carry thistle roots, which remained his only source of sustenance. The roots barely kept him alive, leaving him in a constant state of hunger. The relentless weather continued to batter Everts. A sudden snowstorm blanketed the area, forcing him to rely on his ingenuity once more. Using the lens of his opera glass, he started a fire, a skill he had perfected through sheer necessity. He fed the fire constantly, keeping it alive through the freezing night. Yet, the flames offered little solace for his worsening frostbite and the searing pain in his limbs. Isolation and starvation began to take a toll on Everts' mental state. He frequently hallucinated, envisioning people or help that wasn't there. But amidst the confusion and despair, the thought of reuniting with his daughter kept him moving forward, step by agonizing step. Meanwhile, members of the Washburn Expedition continued their relentless search. Among them was a man named Gillette, who harbored feelings for Everts' daughter. Driven by both duty and personal motives, they scoured the shores of Yellowstone Lake. Tragically, they missed the small, makeshift shelter Everts had constructed near the hot springs. One fateful night, Everts fell asleep too close to a steaming hot spring. The intense heat scalded his back, leaving him with severe burns. This new injury compounded his suffering, yet he refused to let it break his spirit. He continued to forage and move, driven by an unyielding will to survive. Finally, after 37 grueling days of isolation and relentless struggle, salvation arrived. Two hunters who had heard of his disappearance stumbled upon Everts. The sight of his emaciated, battered frame was shocking. Barely able to walk, Everts was carried to safety. His miraculous survival became a testament to human resilience and an enduring symbol of what the human spirit can endure. The rescue and legacy of Truman Everts. When the hunters finally rescued Truman Everts, his condition was harrowing. He had lost so much weight that he was almost unrecognizable, his frost-bitten fingers and toes blackened, and his body riddled with burns from hot springs and fire. Despite his physical agony, Everts remained lucid enough to recount the extraordinary tale of his survival in Yellowstone's unforgiving wilderness. The hunters were part of a group familiar with the Yellowstone region. Alerted by the Washburn Expedition about Everts' disappearance, they had kept an eye out for him during their travels. Their discovery ended weeks of relentless searching by the Washburn team, who had begun to fear the worst. Everts was transported to a nearby settlement, where he received the medical attention and rest he so desperately needed. His recovery was slow but steady. During this time, word of his ordeal spread like wildfire, capturing the imagination of a nation. People across America were enthralled by the story of a man who had endured and survived the perils of one of the country's most remote and hazardous regions. Everts' experience highlighted the raw and often brutal nature of Yellowstone. Its geothermal features, unpredictable weather, and wild animals posed constant threats. His survival underscored the necessity of preparation and caution for those daring to explore such wilderness. Years later, Everts published a detailed account of his ordeal in a magazine, cementing his legacy. His story added to Yellowstone's mystique, portraying it as both a place of unparalleled beauty and relentless danger. This narrative, among others, fueled the growing momentum to preserve the region as a national treasure. In 1872, just 2 years after Everts' rescue, Yellowstone was officially designated as the world's first national park. Accounts like his played a pivotal role in showcasing the region's unique combination of awe-inspiring landscapes and perilous challenges. Today, Yellowstone stands as a testament to nature's raw power and beauty, inspiring stories of exploration, survival, and discovery. The legacy of Truman Everts and Yellowstone. Everts' tale has become an enduring chapter in Yellowstone's history, embodying both the dangers and the allure of the region. His remarkable account inspired further exploration and played a pivotal role in the eventual establishment of Yellowstone National Park. After his recovery, Everts lived the remainder of his life with a sense of quiet accomplishment, having survived what many would consider an impossible ordeal. Yet the physical and emotional toll of his experience left indelible scars. Despite these challenges, he frequently shared his story, becoming a local legend whose name remains forever intertwined with Yellowstone's legacy. The areas Everts traversed, including the shores of Yellowstone Lake and the life-sustaining hot springs, were later documented in greater detail by subsequent expeditions. These explorations confirmed the accuracy of many of Everts' descriptions, solidifying the incredible nature of his journey. Today, Yellowstone stands as a testament to both the indomitable spirit of explorers like Everts and the untamed beauty of nature. Its geysers, hot springs, and sprawling landscapes draw millions of visitors annually. Yet, beneath the surface lies the memory of the volcanic forces that shaped it, and the countless stories of survival and discovery that unfolded within its wilderness. Everts' story serves as a poignant reminder of human resilience and the awe-inspiring power of nature. His survival against overwhelming odds continues to inspire adventurers, conservationists, and storytellers alike. Everts' legacy endures as a vital chapter in the story of Yellowstone, a land where the extraordinary and the perilous coexist in harmony. The end. Thank you for joining us on this journey through history and resilience. This story is brought to you by Storyteller Pro, your source for captivating tales that connect the past with the present. Don't forget to subscribe and follow us for more incredible stories of human endurance, discover, and inspiration. Until next time, let the stories you hear inspire the adventures you seek.